In a story first reported by CBS News, sources say Vice President JD Vance will lead a new White House anti-fraud task force that will search, it is said, for welfare abuses in California and other states. Our Weijia Jiang joins us now from the White House. California and other states, not random, I'm guessing, probably run by Democrats.
Well, Major, that is a good educated guess, considering that is what the president has been very vocal about in recent months, especially as he talked about setting up this anti-fraud task force and appointing a new person at the DOJ to oversee all of these new investigations, Major. And you're right, there will be a heavy focus on California, as our colleagues reported today exclusively. And we know, as you mentioned, that the vice president will be the chair. But there are still few details about exactly how this task force will operate. There are already concerns, though, Major, because there are existing departments within the DOJ that are already tasked with looking at fraud. And so the distinction will be important because critics worry that this is going to be politically motivated, given the vice president's involvement and given what the president has said about these Democratic states. But we expect more details and for the actual task force to be formed sometime this month.
Not hard to do the political math. J.D. Vance might be someone seeking the presidency in 2028. So might Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. That math pretty easy to do. I want to ask you about Iran because the president had an interesting exchange with NBC News about Iran. Let's play it and then get your most recent reporting on what's going on.
Should the supreme leader in Iran be worried right now?
I would say he should be very worried, yeah. He should be. As you know, they're negotiating with us.
I know they are, but the protesters have said, you know, where are the Americans? You promised them we would have their back. Do we still have their back?
Well, we've had their back, and look, that country's a mess right now because of us. We went in, we wiped out their nuclear.
So lots of things are happening in a stage that doesn't necessarily look like it's preparatory, but there's a lot of action, both diplomatic attempting and show of force in the region.
And there's a lot of wavering, Major. In fact, just today, there was a time when talks that are scheduled for Friday between White House envoy Steve Witkoff and other American negotiators with Iranians was almost falling apart because, as I know you've been reporting, there was that Iranian drone that the U.S. military shot down in recent days, which obviously changed the environment for these talks. And our CBS News reporting is that because multiple countries in the region, at least 9, asked the Trump administration explicitly not to call off talks, they will still go on as planned for Friday. However, the administration is also setting very low expectations for any kind of diplomatic breakthrough. So I think what you heard in that clip from President Trump is what we have been hearing, Major, which is that he's stopping short of calling for an explicit regime change, but he wants to make clear that all of his options are on the table, not just the diplomatic ones.
And we will all watch that very, very closely. Weijia Jiang of the White House, thank you so much.